Okay, so in today's video, we're gonna go through for loops. For loops, they are very similar to while loops in the case that they basically loop a block over and over again. So exactly like for loops, but the condition here is a little bit different. In here, we would basically declare a variable. So let's say we declared a variable I. Let's say that that is 0. So this would mean that I will start on 0, and then we would have a filter here. So let's say that we had that I needs to be smaller or equal to 10. So this is basically the condition in the while loop that this needs to be met or this needs to be true for this to play. And then we add the step here. So this would, let's say we add I++. This is basically the thing that we add in the end of the while loop. We added, I++ or I equals I plus 1. That's the same thing, right? In the for loop, we add it inside of this parentheses instead. Basically add everything in here. And let's say that we just printed f here, or I mean. We print variable I here, and let's see what happens. And you will see that just like the while loop, it will type from 0 to 10, right? Just a different way to write it. We could also, let's say, we could declare this to start at 2. That would start the loop at 2, right? We could also, if we change this back to 0, we could make this, let's say, make it 100. And we can say that maybe we just want numbers that are even. We could say that I is plus or equal to 2. So this is basically like writing it in the end of the while loop. So it's basically like writing that in the end of the while loop, but we do it inside of here instead. So this will, of course, print all even numbers, right? From 0 to 100. This has lots of uses. I'm gonna stick to ++ here for now, because I'm gonna show you one more thing. There are two commands, continue and break, that are very useful in this case. They basically do that. Break basically breaks this whole for loop and just skips out. So it will start doing the code here beneath. It will just break out of this. I can do an example of that. Let's say that we had, so this will print all numbers from 0 to 100. But if we say we make an if condition here, so if I is equal to, let's say, 9, then we do this and we break. Okay. So now it should, this should print from 0 to 100. But if I is equal to 9, it should break. So let's see what happens. You see that it goes from 0 to 8, and then it stops. If we were to add, let's say, a printf here, we will print done. When we run this, we can see that it will first do the loop, and then it breaks, and then you see it types done. So it basically skips this block, basically breaks out of that block, and then goes on to do this, right? Let's say that we instead did continue here. We change this to continue. This will basically just skip one of these, one of the loops. So I'll show you. I'll change this to 10 instead. So this will basically say that when I is equal to 9, it will basically just start over. So it will go to the top, it will take I++, so when it's 9, it won't do this line, because it will continue, so it will skip the rest of the stuff here. So let's say we had a bunch of different prints here. All of this stuff will just be skipped. It will jump to the top, it will go up by 1, and then it will run the program again. Or run the block again. This is very, very useful. We could do stuff like, let's say that every time that I or is equal to 0, we could do something like this, right? So that we just get all the odd numbers, because every time that I modulus 2 is equal to 0, we continue. So that means that when I is even, it just continues, so it skips the print. And of course, then we will get a program that just prints the uneven numbers. And yeah, you can make very complex loops by basically using filter, by using the interval, and by using continue or break to create larger programs. Yeah, so this is very useful. So continue and break, both in while loops and in for loops, they can be very, very useful.